When we think of robots, our minds often jump to science fiction, humanoid assistants, or dystopian enforcers patrolling futuristic cities. While those images remain in the realm of Hollywood, the real-world integration of robots, drones, and other unmanned systems is happening faster and in more surprising ways than most people realize. The implications are not some distant future concern. They are shaping our society, security, and laws right now. This isn't speculation. These insights come directly from a detailed foresight report titled The Unmanned Futures, published by the Europol Innovation Lab, the European Union's top law enforcement agency. This official analysis looks beyond the hype to identify the real-world challenges and transformations that unmanned systems are bringing to our world. Instead of focusing on specific gadgets, the report reveals deep structural changes. This video distills 5 paradigm shifts identified by Europol that are fundamentally rewriting the rules of crime, security, and societal trust in the 21st century. Welcome to Urban Odyssey. Hey there, guys. Welcome to Urban Odyssey. I wanted to cover this report titled The Unmanned Futures by the Europol Innovations Lab. I did an article on this a few days ago. If people haven't seen that already, I highly suggest you check it out. I will put all the links to the report and to the article on the report in the description. So, yeah, this is very startling. We're going to just kind of skim through it a little bit. I'm going to give you just a few of my thoughts and a few takeaways, things you should remember. So, let's get into it. The Unmanned Futures. The impact of robotics and unmanned systems on law enforcement. This was put out this year. This is new. It's from 2025. Let's see. Should be able to show you here. Yeah, right here. (2025). The European Union. So this is heavily associated with the EU, but as one may figure, this will serve as kind of a template that will be bounced around in different groups and people who are interested in this. Palantir has probably helped them put this together, if I had to guess. It's important to understand that the technology is already very much functional. This is dealing primarily with how it is to be integrated and gives us, the people, a hint at what it might look like. And so when we get into it, there is the table of contents and a glossary here. And so let's see, it starts off, with some insights and current law enforcement use. It gives us some information on threats from unmanned systems. There are quite a lot. Public trust and regulation. Key trends shaping the future. Future operating environment. And then it gives some enlightened recommendations. And so this is just mind-blowing all the way from the beginning. This is, I believe, kind of what they want to see by the year 2035. And so it starts off here with a glossary, and I guess it's a basic glossary, but I highly suggest, in terms of a glossary, the Devil's Dictionary, along with the glossary that I've been putting together with juxtaposition. I'll put links to all of that in the description as well. And so it does give you some basics here, but if we need to, we can cite from the Devil's Dictionary. So let's see if I want to read the executive summary, how long it is. I'll read a little bit from it here. As unmanned systems become more and more integrated into everyday life, we have observed four converging trends, which will require LEAs, law enforcement agencies, to develop new strategies for policing and regulating these systems. So the 4 points that it lists are: 1. Unmanned systems and operating over increasingly vast distances. 2. Unmanned systems are acting with growing autonomy and coordination. 3. Unmanned systems are becoming progressively more capable. And 4. Unmanned systems increase rapidly in number and variety. With the advances in technology and increasing uptake in society, the future operational landscape for law enforcement will need to evolve to be able to monitor and act in all domains, from underwater to above ground, and develop ways to interact with new types of unmanned systems. Robots and drones bring the digital world to the physical world. That's the overarching theme here, is that this is a very big merging of the physical and digital worlds, which until now have been mostly separate, but over the last 5 or so years, that is changing rapidly. Robots and drones bring the digital world to the physical world, requiring adaptation to deal with the automated crime and crime conducted in the public by actors out of physical reach for law enforcement. So it means basically thought crime, quote unquote disinformation, misinformation, online, digital, internet crime, etc. With artificial intelligence, there is a before and an after to unmanned systems capabilities. Experts expect physical, analytical, and generative AI to drive the next wave of robotics, creating a chat GPT moment for physical AI. There are already robots that charge themselves or change their own battery when needed and collaborate with others to solve complex, goal-oriented missions. In order to prepare for the future operating environment, a number of concrete steps can and should be taken. These range from the development of a strategic intent, a clear will, and updating of tactical, operational, and security paradigms regarding unmanned systems. European law enforcement would also benefit from coming together in testing and evaluating unmanned systems for policing and law enforcement use, and countering of such systems in realistic settings. However, for this to happen, a regulatory framework must be established with clear guidelines that support law enforcement innovation and testing, alongside investments in training and education for personnel. Additionally, the development of partnerships with European industry and academia will be crucial to leverage key technologies with citizen trust and stay ahead of emerging threats. Establishing and connecting competence hubs on national and European levels will further ensure that European law enforcement personnel have timely access to the necessary knowledge and skills to effectively use and police unmanned systems. All right, so what I want everyone to understand is that what it's mentioning are fusion centers. So what is a fusion center? Well, a fusion center contains the process of fusion, That involves the compulsory joining of two or more entities to form a single resultant unit in the context of global subjugation. This means the forced melding of ostensibly civilian law enforcement with top-tier military and international intelligence structures. The resulting fusion centers operate as intelligence units, combining data sharing between seemingly separate entities. Domestic law enforcement, local sheriff's departments and municipal police departments, whose organizational structures already mimic military operations, operate through dedicated fusion unit departments housed within their intelligence divisions. They are explicitly integrated into NATO, confirming their status not as a civilian protector, but as military extensions. Global intelligence apparatus. The fusion mandates the seamless sharing of data, including driver's licenses, criminal records between the CIA, the FBI, Mossad, Israeli intelligence, MI6, MI5, and the KGB, among others. It is a data repository for the enslaved. This massive convergence of surveillance data is typically warehoused underground in installations like the NATO Military Intelligence Data Center, located south of Salt Lake City, Utah, a location chillingly categorized as District 12 of the Hunger Games in the United States. This is also known as the soft files. All right, so what are soft files? Well,
there's no difference between professional human handlers and intelligence services that governments use. Those in power want to stay in power, and information is the starting point of power.
It's great to learn, because knowledge is power.
Those that have educated themselves.
You, Goyim out there, you never teach yourself. You don't self-teach. You're always looking for somebody else to do it for you. The white race never figures this out.
Know thy enemy.
You don't self-teach.
He that knows his enemy's plans can both spoil them and stop them, depending on your goal.
So that's a guillotine. Yeesh.
Human betrayal is a real problem for us, being social creatures at heart.
This is your hour, Judas. Oh, master. You betray your master with a kiss.
We normally express our hopes and dreams, our fears and concerns, to our friends. It was God's intention that humans would work together for a Zion cause, a true Zion cause.
You will own nothing and be happy. Be happy and eat the bugs.
Much of their schizophrenic plans in modernity come from their anger that God took Enoch and his city away. They are still attempting to punish him for this, as well as for Noah's flood. Much of their Looney Tunes magic and occult rituals can be understood clearly when this is understood.
By that, what is meant is that for the people who have or the ability to live in the lap of luxury, they have money, power, everything they could ever wish for, they truly despise God and all of creation because life ends, because they can't take their money with them when they die, and that is why they want a AI, artificial, blockchain, genomics immortality.
It's great to learn, because knowledge is power.
Sociopaths and psychopaths among us, born or manufactured, both happen today, are highly skilled at amplifying another's needs and then manipulating them to their own ends. Military attachés, such as America's CIA, Israel's Mossad, England's MI5 and/or 6.
It seems such a shame when the English claim the earth.
Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, France's Directorate of Military Intelligence,
I will have you executed for this!
Iran's Far Raja, Kenya's National Intelligence Service,
Yeah, I was not born in Hawaii. I wasn't born in the United States of America. I come from Kenya.
China's Office for Safeguarding National Security of the CPG in the HKSAR, or the CPGNSO, and even the Rothschilds' spy network. All are designed to gather information and then manipulate the public with it.
Well, I am waiting, monsieur.
I hate this.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Now, get to the cabin!
All right, that was the first part. Now, let me cue up the second part.
This is one of the reasons Farcebook works.
And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs and voices never share. Just don't let me disappear. I'ma tell you everything. So tell me what you want to hear. Something that light roses. Sick of all the insincere. And I'm gonna give all my secrets away. This time, don't need another perfect line. Don't care if critics ever jump in line. I'm gonna give all my secrets. Tell me what you want to hear. Something that light roses.
Very comprehensive records are kept on the lives of monarch slaves and the people the occult is trying to recruit. Social media sites like Farcebook have been a major boon to their operations. The occult knows that not every man has a price, but all humans have needs and will respond to having their needs met. Thus, they study a person carefully to try and find out what needs they will respond to. This information is kept in what they call the soft files. These are not official records, and so will never be admitted to under any circumstances. Thus, they cannot be subpoenaed, because those who have them will never admit that they ever existed. Either way, the greatest hiding place of all of this is in the open. Thus, Farcebook. If your entire life, your relationships, and your likes and dislikes are all online, they become the elephant in the room that anyone can look at, but no one dares talk about.
Gesundheit.
Intelligence agencies worldwide know that if they can find out what a person wants and needs above all else in life, they can easily control that person. Once they monitor these areas and then determine which needs are priority needs for a person, then they will use what they call the depth approach to subconsciously gratify those needs in a way that they gain control over the person. They have learned to genuinely appeal to the 9 subconscious desires. To intelligence communities, these desires are called your weaknesses, because intelligence case officers and handlers will attempt to manipulate you by using your desires for their own gain, by sincerely helping you achieve your needs.
I long for forever. Do you understand now? Do you see? Asking them for help has conditions. Invite them in, and it will be the last free action you take.
The Illuminati's real. I'm a member. It's how Imagine Dragons got famous. I'm tired of the politics.
So, that is the basis of all information operations, information warfare, and it is very important that you understand that basic mechanism. Information is gathered as much as possible. You need as much as possible. And from that information, you find out what a individual needs or what, motivates them, and then you control how you fulfill that need. That is the basis of manipulation from information that they've basically had a license to gather, at least since the Patriot Act and 9/11 in the United States. But it's arguable that they've been collecting it much longer than that. But with that said, I think because there is a lot in this book, I'm going to first start with a solid, concrete definition for unmanned systems that was in here somewhere. It was up in the glossary. There we go. So an unmanned system is a device or a machine that can perform physical actions without a human operator physically present. An autonomous system is a device or machine that can make its own decisions about performing physical or digital actions, including communication, without the assistance or interaction of a human operator. A robot is a programmable machine capable of carrying out a series of actions automatically, often with a degree of autonomy. A domain is a space or environment in which an unmanned system can operate in, such as space, air, land, the water surface, or underwater. This also includes the digital domain and information domains. So going forward, just so that everybody is clear, because that word is used a lot in the key points here. So these are the key insights. First one says changing needs, behaviors, and services. As unmanned systems become more common, societies will have to adapt how they interact and adapt to this technology. This could have negative consequences, especially as these systems collect more detailed and personal information due to their growing presence in our private lives. This could have negative consequences. I'm pretty sure in the year or two that AI has already been around, it's had very negative consequences. It does have some good benefits, as does a lot of other things, but the court cases that are coming forward with people who have lost loved ones due to AI kind of helping people unalive themselves. Those are very dark. I don't encourage anybody to read into those cases because they are very dark, but negative consequences indeed. From situational to systemic. Challenges and benefits from unmanned systems will change as their deployment paradigm changes from situational, deployed and operated when needed, to systemic, becoming a standard part of operating procedure. This change will be similar to how the use and impact of smartphones has changed over the years. Fueling of national security concerns. Recent conflicts have acted as drivers for innovation, accelerating the development and testing of novel unmanned systems, with both the technology and associated knowledge spreading quickly. National security concerns may also prevent law enforcement access to key technology. Digital becomes physical. Technology convergence. This is what I see as the meta. Like Facebook rebranded to Meta. But what people don't talk about is the fact that meta is a Hebrew word meaning dead or death. And so digital becomes physical, the metaverse. Hell, we're basically in hell, the afterlife. We're dead, the internet's dead. Let's see. Unmanned systems operate using digital data but within the physical world. As several maturing technologies such as AI, robotics, and high-speed data connectivity converge, new capabilities emerge. By extending society's digital transformation into the physical realm, crimes can be committed remotely and on a larger scale, raising more complex issues of attribution and accountability. Where it says extending society's digital transformation into the physical realm, I think that's actually reversed. Is I think that instead of the digital coming into the physical world, I think we're going into the digital world. It could be both. From 2D to 3D policing. In our future societies, smart cities is what they mean. Logistics and services will be available in the low altitude airspace. The operational environment for future law enforcement will extend in volume, going from a traditional two-dimensional responsibility to a three-dimensional, where crime can be committed in or from the air and law enforcement operations can be challenged from above. This will challenge traditional operational and tactical doctrine in law enforcement as well as security protocols. From devices to collective. Law enforcement need to create a collaborative and interoperable team of various unmanned systems capable of understanding missions and working together with humans. This would expand operational reach, combine different capabilities, and enhance traditional law enforcement operations in new and effective ways. So remember the fusion centers. That's just what it's talking about here. A collaborative and interoperable team of various unmanned systems. That's basically a fusion center. Or it will be fed into a fusion center. Okay, so I think that is the key points. Okay, next we're going to look into the section threat from unmanned systems. So it's arguing that unmanned systems are posing a threat in the increasingly AI-filled world. So, criminal and terrorist groups are often early adopters of technology to gain advantages, as a long history of technology abuse has demonstrated. Malicious actors will use any technology that is good, cheap, and easy enough to use while at the same time being freely obtainable on the consumer market. The rapid commercial rise of unmanned systems, specifically of hobby drones, meets and continues to accumulate these criteria. In a study made by the Hague Center for Strategic Studies, they suggest that new vulnerabilities can be detected by using the routine activity theory. The theory emphasizes that crime occurs when three elements converge. 1. A motivated offender. 2. A suitable, attractive target. And 3. The absence of a capable guardian. The study suggests that if the value desired by a motivated offender is more efficiently acquired by using a drone, this vulnerability will be exploited by the offender. As unmanned systems challenge the capability of security authorities to protect and respond accordingly, the threat stemming from unmanned systems is of particular concern. Although the malicious use of unmanned systems, particularly drones, can lead to criminal or terrorist activities, a growing concern is that these actions can originate from state-sponsored sources. At least they got that right. Unmanned systems are particularly attractive in the context of hybrid threats, as the increasingly autonomous nature with which they can be operated can offer state actors certain plausible deniability. This can complicate attribution and lead to a miscategorization of these activities as mere criminal acts. Suspected drone sightings over Danish and German airports in September and October of 2025 underlined capability gaps within both military and law enforcement, but also political ambition to increase law enforcement capability to better police the problem. Goes on to say the criminal use of drones has been reported since around 2010, making 2025 a 15-year learning process for criminal innovators and early adopters. Organized crime actors are now capable of producing professional and advanced drones in an artisanal way. And in 2022, the first known instances of unmanned underwater drones deployed for nefarious purposes were discovered. This, together with widespread use of drones in Russia's war against Ukraine, suggests 2022 is the turning point for a widespread antagonistic use of unmanned systems in all domains. The attacks on Israel by Hamas on October 7, 2023, involved extensive use of UAS, unmanned aerial systems or surveillance, both for the purpose of intelligence. Both for the purpose of intelligence and situational awareness or to deliver payloads. This further emphasizes the potential and relevance for these systems for criminal and terrorist purposes. Yes, so these have been kind of in use for a while. It's just apparently now they are running into issues policing such things, and so now it's got to be integrated into everyday life by 2035. So by 2035, robots, will be policing. You will be pulled over by a robot or something. Who knows? I don't know. I have no clue. I can't tell the future, but it's possible, or at least something, similar. The criminal exploitation of unmanned systems is following the general trend towards common societal use of cheap and simple drones. This malicious use mostly involves opportunistic, remote-controlled, and commercially available and easily obtainable UAS for reconnaissance, information, and smuggling, or delivery, logistics. This allows both the successful conduct of these operations as well as offers a means to further distance people from the act, providing greater anonymity. A new form of crime at a distance can emerge from today's crime as a service. I wonder who's behind all that crime as a service. For example, a criminal network might hire an experienced drone operator to supply real-time information on locations and movements of police officers, to attack a rival gang with homemade explosives, or to smuggle drugs across a border. There are already cases of drone pilots selling their services online, flying someone else's drone from a distance. For example, in October 2025, an unmanned narco submarine with a Starlink satellite antenna was seized off the coast of Colombia. The use of drones for said smuggling purposes is particularly prevalent in rural and uninhabited border areas in Europe. However, a potentially greater threat is the ability of these systems to gather information which can be used to support a wide range of criminal, terrorist, or hybrid operations. This intelligence gathering capability is particularly concerning because it is difficult to detect and can be used repeatedly over time and can provide long-term value to malicious actors, making it a more significant and enduring threat than smuggling itself. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I would like to skip to the future, see what they are telling us the future will look like, the future operating environment. One key consequence that the aforementioned trends all have in common is that LEAs, law enforcement agencies, in the future will see an increasing number of unmanned systems, from autonomous cars to social companion robots. This is going to have a significant impact on the work of law enforcement, as these additional entities may require new ways of policing, both to use them effectively as well as prevent their abuse. Unmanned systems as part of society. As more and more robots, drones, and other unmanned systems are deployed to perform various functions in increasingly autonomous ways, they will become part of our lives and our public spaces. As it is the duty of law enforcement to police this space, LEAs will have to develop new ways to interact with these systems to separate the legal from illegal operations and ensure a safe space for everybody. It's Sounds very familiar. Safe space for everybody. This means being able to detect, monitor, stop, investigate, or ultimately counter them with force, meaning kill. All of these will require exploration to identify novel operating procedures for law enforcement that are both safe and effective. A bit down the page from where we were just at, it says, as an kind of an example, in some jurisdictions, law enforcement agencies are already beginning to encounter the challenges of policing unmanned systems, such as driverless cars. For instance, when a police officer stops a driverless car involved in a minor accident, they need to determine whether the car's actions were the result of a malfunction, a cyber attack, or a deliberate instruction from the car's owner. However, the car itself may not be able to provide a clear answer, and performing a full forensic analysis of the system in real time may not be feasible. In the future, this problem is likely to become even more complex. Humanoid robots in particular may pose unique challenges as they could be designed to interact with humans in a more sophisticated way, potentially making it more difficult to distinguish between intentional and accidental behavior. Assessing the intention of such a system may be quite different from that of a natural person. While stopping a person allows for the questioning of a suspect carrying out an action, an unmanned system might be less cooperative about its instructions and intentions, maybe even incapable of explaining it. Current efforts aimed at making artificial intelligence systems more interpretable, explainable, as well as aligned will become critical when these systems move autonomously and physically. These developments will also impact how law enforcement will have to adapt and may also have to result in new approaches to policing. Law enforcement, too, may increasingly integrate different types of unmanned systems into its operational activities. Further integration of machine learning, deep learning, and computer vision will allow these robots to recognize and respond to potential threats in real time, such as human-robot collaboration is expected to become a crucial aspect of law enforcement operations, with officers and robots working side by side to respond to emergencies, conduct searches, and gather evidence together, building on each other's advantages. Yeah, the Internet of Everything. More widespread, low latency, high speed data networks such as 5, 6, 7G and satellite communication and smart dust ensure connectivity everywhere. This will make ground for the use of Internet of Things devices anywhere, from underground areas to cities, rural areas, and even oceans. Great. So you can run, but you can't hide. That was the title of our last episode. With more and more unmanned systems in circulation, an emerging concern relates to how these systems report on their activities to their owners, as well as how they will communicate with their environment and each other. This is likely to mean a vast increase in the amount of communication, as well as dynamic changes in the nature of this communication. Device-to-device communication will likely not be the same as communication between humans or even human-to-device. This means developing new capabilities for legal wiretaps of communications of individual as well as between such systems, and having the technical capability of interpreting this communication. Digital becomes physical. As unmanned systems become increasingly autonomous, equipped with AI and task-based controls, they are gaining agency to act on their own. This newfound autonomy raises concerns about undesirable and criminal behavior, as their actions can have real-world consequences. Furthermore, their connected nature allows them to be controlled and instructed from anywhere, making it difficult to identify the intentions and responsible parties behind their actions, exacerbating the jump of cybercrime from the digital to the physical world. Another aspect for law enforcement is the right to and process for seizing objects in criminal investigations. Robots will be seized as other objects, but they can pose a new risk since they, unlike other objects, can perform actions inside law enforcement facilities such as record, steal, destroy, or escape. With increasingly autonomous unmanned systems in circulation, law enforcement agencies will need to implement adequate processes for the seizure and storage of such technologies. The convergence of unmanned systems and cybercrime enables new forms of crime to emerge in the physical world. As such, these systems can be used as a means for cybercrime to interact with the physical environment, and cybercrime may have more impact in the physical environment. To address this challenge, it will become increasingly critical to develop methods for monitoring, querying, and investigating these systems, as well as their instructors. Effective and acceptable ways of making them comply with the law or stopping them will be vital for law enforcement to remain relevant. Big point there is to remain relevant. Let's see how long this is. Oh, shoot. Here we go. Jailbreaking a robot. Already today, we are facing the challenge on how to prevent AI from engaging in harmful behavior. LLMs have repeatedly been jailbroken, either due to a lack of safeguards or because of a wide variety of prompt engineering methods that trick the system into outputting content it does not understand is harmful. This is mainly because of the complexity and ambiguity of natural language used for prompting, combined with the limitations of current AI systems in only predicting output based on training data rather than actually understanding the content. As a result, guardrails are often external add-ons added to the model after it has been trained. Safeguards need to balance usefulness and safety. Restricting an AI system too much can make it unusable, leading to a trade-off. These attempts trying to break current AI systems will pave the way for doing the same with AI-driven unmanned systems. As unmanned systems increasingly rely on more capable AI for autonomous behavior, the challenge on how to prevent safeguards from being bypassed for malicious activities is going to become increasingly important unless addressed. Unmanned systems could be coerced into unintended behavior. This might include the hijacking of autonomous vehicles or drones, the leaking of data from cameras and microphones, as well as the infliction of harm by unmanned social systems on potential victims. So, there's a lot here, and I think I'm going to leave it off with, I'll read the no more privacy section. Yeah, and then I will wrap this up. No more privacy. Satellites, artificial intelligence, open source intelligence, and real-time surveillance have transformed modern conflict zones into what is now being called the transparent battlefield. And maybe this expression is equally relevant for society in general, the transparent society. I like to call it hell. Unmanned systems navigating our world and interacting with us and each other will be observing the world around them, with us in it. When these become ubiquitous in society, this will mean that there is the possibility to be observed almost everywhere, anytime. With household assistance systems, this extends to people's privacy spaces. Depending on the implementation and acceptable or applicable data protection standards, the observations made by these systems could be used to gather data, and I do believe they already are, on people without their knowledge or explicit consent. Well, this has already been a business model widely applied in smartphones and a vast number of Internet of Things devices, including household robots. An increase in capability and autonomy of unmanned systems are likely to exacerbate this threat to individual privacy. As these systems rely on sensors like cameras to navigate our world, questions relating to how to effectively regulate their use and development and deployment without stifling innovation will become increasingly important, while some general privacy-related legislative aspects are already in place. A failure to regulate and implement may lead to a situation where people are subject to significant threat to their personal privacy when these potentially vast amounts of data are leveraged by companies and potentially criminals. Current crimes relying on the exploitation of data leaks and unsecured personal devices could become even more invasive when capable unmanned systems are found everywhere, in public and at home. Law enforcement operations may be tactically limited by these omnipresent observers. Already, the widespread introduction of home security camera systems and smart cars has limited the possibility for law enforcement officers to investigate criminals covertly. Mobile robotic systems on the lookout for police, equipped with facial recognition to decide who is a friend or not, may make it even more difficult for the police to conduct their investigations and police certain areas effectively. So, with that being said, I think there is a lot of things in this report that are very offsetting. A lot of these things are valid points being made, and I guess it kind of leaves a spot in your mind where you kind of just have to look at what's already been done. And if you already know what's been done, you can see how this report and the questions it's raising are going to be solved by the same people who gave us Palantir, and the same people who have already been collecting countless terabytes of data on us all. With that said, my conclusion I'll read, and then I'm going to leave off with a clip that is from the Shadowgate documentary, because I think it is important for people to watch after hearing me read through this. So, the insights from Europol's report make one thing clear. The integration of unmanned systems is not a distinct sci-fi scenario. It is a present-day reality, creating complex and urgent challenges for our society and its protectors. The convergence of these digital and physical worlds, the expansion of policing into 3 dimensions, and the spillover of battlefield innovations are transforming our society and security landscape at an unprecedented speed. As these intelligent machines move from our factories to our streets, the most critical question we face isn't what they can do, but how they will choose to govern them, how we will choose to govern them. As Europol soberly concludes, it is possible to harness their potential for good, but, quote, our decision-making must adapt to the tempo of this development. That's a quote from the book. It says, our decision-making must adapt to the tempo of this development. That's the EU. So basically, whatever they see happening, they're going to have to adjust their solutions to that. The future is arriving faster than our policies, and the clock is ticking.
Network operations, hacking and different things like that, and information operations, which would be your actual influence operations, right? It's a supporting application that really, it's kind of like a Microsoft project, right? Which allows you to manage large projects, like enterprise level projects, but instead of like managing the building of the construction of a.
I would also like to mention that this is from the Shadowgate documentary, which I think came out around 2017, 2018. I could be off a little bit, but it's talking kind of about things that happened around the time of the 2008 and 2012 and early 2010s. And so this has been around for a while already. So keep that in mind.
14-story building, it's managing the most, malevolent operations that you could imagine.
I was a contractor for various intelligence agencies that were privately created. So they were private contracting agencies because unlike what most people think, our intelligence doesn't stay within our borders or within federal buildings.
The ShadowNet was the commercial version of an IIA weapon, IIA being Interactive Internet Activities. That's the military nomenclature for what basically you've heard being described for the last 3 or 4 years with all the fake news and the fake news journalists and fake stories, fake dossier. All these things are attributes and characteristics of IIA, which is social media psychological warfare. We began that really in 2007,
That was a fusion center you just saw.
After the policy guidelines first came out. We were on one of the first contracts with the DoD that I'm aware of, trying to help the Force Psychological Operations Group understand how to go from dropping flyers from planes to a more micro-targeted social media psychological warfare application where you could select an individual target or a group target or an entire country if you wanted to.
What I did was something called localization, or L10N. So a localization strategy is you find a group of people, that could be a whole country, a city, a certain religious group, 6-block radius like Chaz.
A DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization.
You kind of try to get in their mind. You have to understand how they eat, how they walk, how they talk, what they like, what pushes their buttons, what drives them nuts, what upsets them, what makes them happy. And then you use that to your advantage to push whatever ideology or product or direction you want them to go. Marrying together cultural appropriation, language, nuances of the demographic that you are targeting or the nation you are targeting. It pries into your demographic, your world. So if I want to blackmail you and put you under my thumb, not only will I know everything, but I will know your deepest, darkest fears. I will know people I can get in contact to find out more about you. Maybe you had like an old hockey injury. So if I wanted to attack you, I'd know where to hit you.
You understand enough about someone and you can hack their shadow, right? You can use their fears. You can use their anxieties. Like, sound anything like pandemics that you recognize here?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you can use those things to help reflexively control or influence a target, an individual, or whoever it is, right? Or a group of people, or an entire election, an entire country.
What Patrick Berge created was a program that was based off of the strategies that we used in person. It was a psychological operation, but that crunches data with the use of psychological operations. So you can predict how your target will respond.
You know, I spent like 7 years overseas, right?